start. As in the first series, we're going back to basics, but this time we're taking a slightly different approach. We'll be working with two gardens, one near Oxford and one in Kent. I'll be working with the owners of this typical first-timers plot, a sadly neglected, derelict suburban garden. Hi, I'm Jerry, and I work part-time in a designer shop in Knightsbridge. I love very, very bright colours, lots of reds, yellows, pinks, and I like quite tall plants as well. With all the dry summers we've been having, it would be nice to have a garden that doesn't require too much watering.
Hi, my name's Neil and I'm an accountant for a local company. We've been married a couple of years now and neither of us have ever had any gardening experience before. And with a young child, whilst we want a nice garden we can enjoy, obviously his safety is something we've got to look out for as well.
We'll show you how with a bit of effort and not a lot of cash, you can make the most of what's already there. Jojo Norris from Wrighton Organic Gardens will be working with another couple of gardening novices to show how anyone can create a wildlife-friendly organic garden.
Jenny, would you like to do this bit? You're great at making beds. I'm useless at this fiddling.
Great at making beds.
On to bed.
I'd like saying, oh, you're so good at changing nappies.
No, we had a contract when we got married.
My name's Rob. I work for a local housing association. What I'd really like is a kid-friendly garden. They love to pond dip as well. So if we could have a pond, that would be absolutely ideal. And also something which encourages wildlife into our garden.
My name's Janny, and I'm a mother and a full-time student. We eat a whole food diet. We try very hard to avoid preservatives and additives, and for us, an absolute ideal would be to have organic vegetables growing in the garden. I'd like a flower garden that has a very unstructured look, nothing too linear, nothing that looks like it's placed, just something that has a nice, easy flow.
You have got a beautiful garden. It looks quite long too. Are you gardeners? No.
Not as yet, but hopefully.
Not one single bit,
Is your first
no.
garden?
Yes,
Oh,
definitely.
wow. And this bit is a real wilderness. Look. It was clearly a fruit garden. There are raspberries sort of limping on. All right. And pink bells. Oh, lovely. And those bluebells. Have you any idea what's under this?
Just more rubble, I think, more branches. I've not been to the back of the garden
It's
yet.
going to be quite exciting, don't you think? Let's see how far the garden goes. Ooh. Lots of old stone and stuff, so watch out.
Yeah, you don't really know what you're actually
Oh, this
standing on.
is real woodland. You've got some big old shrubs, scented ones, quite nice. From a design point of view, it made sense to leave the layout of the garden as it was, divided into 4 areas, with a completely revamped patio leading to a rejuvenated traditional area of lawn with cottage garden-style borders. The third area, currently a totally overgrown jungle, was an opportunity to create a secret garden, completely different in feel to the rest. The last small area at the far end would remain woodland, useful hidden storage space and a fun place for their young son Evan to play when he's older. But first things first, even before we can start hacking back the wilderness, there are jobs to be done. I think we've caught this garden in a nick of time, because in amongst all the very pretty weeds there are some quite important plants that you ought to save. So a good thing to do is to go around marking what you can save. This is a big oriental poppy. Right, do you want to tie it on? We're going to have a look, see if somewhere around here it looks as though there's a little viola, which might be worth digging out. So let's put a marker in there, put a hat on so we don't poke our eyes out.
Is it Viola or Viola?
Viola. There, there's actually quite a lot of it around, but we'll save 1 or 2 clumps of it.
Okay.
Now this grey wool smotherer, I think we ought to keep a couple of pieces of this. I mean, you don't need to keep much because it's so rampant. Right. Put Cerastium on that.
And you would spell that?
C-E-R. Spelling test for gardeners. A-S-T-I-U-M. There is something rather posh over here. I love this plant. It's like a giant snowdrop.
Yeah, that was in flower about a
Yeah,
week
it's
ago.
absolutely lovely. Yeah. It's called Leucojum, or snowflake. And I think that one's
That's easy.
definitely, whatever happens to this terrace, this will have to be taken out with great care.
Is that a fragile plant?
Well, it doesn't like much disturbance, and it takes quite a long time to establish, so the fact that it's doing so well, it's a shame to have to move it, really.
And this one with the blue flower.
That's alkanet. It's a nasty, hairy relation of a forget-me-not, and people think they're foxgloves when they're tiny and let them grow, and then they seed themselves all over the garden. And there's here a foxglove seedling and an alkanet seedling, and if you feel the leaves, that's hairy, and that's very smooth. Yeah. Right, this bit of garden here, we can make a bed to put all our plants that we're saving in. Right. Get the rows out first, this one. We'll just take all the weeds off, take the soil off. Got it? Right. We need to make a bed about a couple of meters square and take out all the plants. Why don't you dig a hole for that oriental poppy that we found,
Okay.
about that wide and about that deep. It's not perfect, you're going to have weeds coming up. Again, we're not really looking for very fertile soil, all we're trying to do is to store the plants here until we've found new homes for them.
Is it about the right size? A bit more?
That's about right, yeah. Okay, let's go and find these plants that we marked. They're actually 2 or 3 separate plants. Certainly take this one here.
Right.
It's not as big as I thought it was, it's 3 separate ones.
How wide would you
Well,
dig
just
around
go straight down about a spade's depth all the way around the plant. See where my hand is?
Yep.
About like that.
Oh, wait, yeah,
All right? Like that. Mind my hand.
Mind your fingers.
Can you manage? Should I get out of the way? Should we try the fork, see if we can get... Now, hang on. Now, just if we leave her, are we loose? Right, now, can you slip your spade underneath it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, look, there's some roots coming out with this. Several bits. So let's just see if we can save them. Right. We'll put them quite deeply in the hole. And what we're going to do is actually water them into position.
Right.
It's quite late to be moving something as big as this because they generally flower in June.
So when would have been the ideal time?
Autumn or earlier in the spring.
Right.
Just let that soak away for a minute. And so tip the rest of the water in now, I think. Somewhere over at this end. Right, now we'll let that soak away and then we'll earth up, completely dry, which will hold in the moisture, we hope.
Okay. So what do they actually look like when they do flower?
Big, delicious, scarlet, papery blobs with black centres.
Right.
Now this snowflake's going to be a bit different because we're going to discover bulbs. It depends how it's been here, how deep they are. And this is great hyacinth and bluebell all mixed up with it. I think we'll just have to leave it as it is, all mixed up. Do you want to do your straight down business?
That far out?
Not that far.
In there?
Yeah. See, under the stones there's a bit of moisture. Probably easier job. We're taking tulips with it and everything. Hang on. There, here we go. Yes, here we go. We've got a lot of it now. Right.
Yep.
Wonderful. See the bulbs?
Indeed.
Right, these bulbs need separating, really.
Okay.
Look at these. No, that's the snowflake. But we have got tulips in amongst, haven't we? No, don't do that. We just want to get the tulips on their own.
Okay.
So we put tulips in one hole, and we'll put everything else in the other. Now, we have to be very careful with these bulbs because the leaves are going to die away completely, so it's really important we put labels in.
Okay.
Right, I think we ought to try and save some foxgloves because you've got quite a few.
Right.
Um,
You seem to have ignored that one.
yeah,
I've taken that.
well, that's one that's going to flower this year, all right? So it's a biennial.
Right. Vague idea.
Right, well, a biennial takes 2 years to flower, so that's already 2 years old.
Okay.
Right? The little ones in here won't flower this year, but we ought to save them for flowering next year.
Right.
Because that one, once it's flowered, will die. And the little ones like these will flower next year.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll save a lot of those and just dig them in.
Okay.
Next tiny one here. Okay, let's go and plant them. Right, now if we just make a sort of a shallow trench, they haven't got big roots at all. All the plants in this little bed need a good feed, and one of the best ways of doing that when there's a drought is through their leaves. So we'll water the leaves with a foliar feed, okay?
So that's enough to keep them going without
Well,
the
you
roots?
do it every fortnight.
Okay.
Right, just do it. This is a buddleia, or a butterfly bush, and it flowers in the late summer.
Right.
And it's particularly hideous, having lots of dead wood in it. So I think even though it's slightly late, we'll still prune it quite radically,
When
I
would
think.
the ideal time be?
A little bit earlier than this, before it got into leaf. Buddleia is one of the toughest shrubs there is. So even if it's badly overgrown, like this one, you can cut it right back, almost to soil level, and it will produce lots of new growth very quickly. If you want to start trimming off this sort of thing here, making it just into a decent shape, back to about here. This buddleia acts as a useful screen, so rather than cut it all down, we're leaving some taller growth at the back. If you see any dead stuff, just take it out from where it starts.
Okay.
As you hack, keep stepping back to look at the overall shape and make sure it's roughly even. Once you've finished hacking, help the shrub recover with some fertiliser and plenty of water. 3 months later, the buddleia is growing really well and producing lots of flowers. This one's the biggest of your sycamore trees. Right. And it's also getting scale insect, which is a horrible disease that they get. So that's another reason to take it out. So what we're going to do is saw this one off and use a chemical stump killer. Right, okay. And I'll try and do this properly by cutting a wedge. Why are you cutting a wedge out like that? So it'll fall this way into the garden and not split as it goes down. There we are. Right, over to you, madam. My turn. Look up from the other side so it falls forward, and I'll just hold it. Sycamores are tough trees, and even with a sharp pruning saw and 2 pairs of hands, it was incredibly hard work. Timber! Are you ready? Yeah. Look at that! And we got a nice
Clean stump.
Clean stump to put the killer on, the chemical. Now you'll spill some, you're bound to, but what you try and do is press it onto the damp stump. Okay. Which has just been cut. Now let's just see if we can get any more on. Particularly around the edge here, where it's really damp. Yeah, that's it. Now we'll put this shower cap on, all right?
Okay.
And to seal it up, I've got 2 rubber bands which I'll just tightly put round the top there. It doesn't look particularly brilliant, does it?
No.
But it should take about 6 months to kill downwards into the root. And hey presto, gone. If you have lots of garden waste to dispose of, it makes sense to hire a shredder, which costs about £30 a day. They do send bits of twig flying everywhere, so always wear eye protection and a mask. Leave the shreddings in an out-of-the-way corner to start rotting down, and next year you can spread them on the soil as a mulch to keep moisture in and weeds at bay.
Organics isn't about making work difficult for yourself.
Good.
You know, it's
Right.
about good husbandry. It's about looking after the soil, planting the right plants in the right place so they're not suffering, about not pouring on a lot of nitrogen fertilisers so that you get lots of sappy growth and then all the pests just move in like, hey, this is supper, you know.
The garden is for the kids, you know, so if they're scrubbing around in the dirt and in the plant
I
bodies,
don't want them eating pesticides.
eating pesticides,
Certainly not.
Fungicides.
exactly.
I mean, they do climb all the way up into the top of this bower to get the best view that they possibly can. And
Into which bower?
right up there is where they like to go.
Yeah, I don't know if I can do that.
But I like the idea of...
I think one of the problems we've got is the quality of the soil. I mean, I don't know anything about it, but somebody has said that this is not very good soil.
Well, you see, that's perfect for wildflowers. I
Is
mean,
that
they
right?
don't want loads of food in their soil.
I don't think we really know what we're doing to the planet. spraying it with
Absolutely.
all kinds of bugs.
And-
You just pick up a weed gun, it's easy. You walk out here.
Janny and Rob's green credentials may be impeccable, but as novice gardeners, they really don't know, yet, how to achieve their goals in their own backyard. The obvious way to divide up the garden was to create a new patio area by the house, with a wildlife-friendly ornamental garden and lawn for the boys to play on in the centre, and an organic fruit and vegetable garden at the far end, divided off from the rest with a screen of trained espalier pears. A picture's worth 1,000 words, though, so to show them exactly what I was talking about, I took them to the Henry Doubleday Research Association's gardens at Ryton, near Coventry.
What is the Henry Doubleday Trust all about now, then?
Well, the Henry Doubleday Research Association is about promoting organic gardening to the general public. We do an awful lot of research. We have these display gardens, which basically, you know, it just helps educate the general public
Inspire.
about... well, inspires, yeah, and what they can really do with organic gardening. And that organic gardening is utterly beautiful. You know, it's just...
I haven't seen any old tyres yet.
This is the rose garden. That's your dream inspires through there.
Lovely.
We just trying to show here that you know, you can have an ordinary garden with lawn, etc. Like you have flower beds, herbs, and these are the espaliers, and this is what your espaliers are going to look like.
In how many years?
Well, literally, in about sort of 5 years' time, you're going to see them pretty
Wow.
established.
How old is this bush? How long is it going to take ours to get up to this sort of maturity?
Oh, it'll be, you know, next year it'll have really shot up.
Here, try one of these.
Thank you.
Okay.
Lovely.
You get a sour one.
Gonna get a sour one.
Composting is the cornerstone of organic gardening.
My favourite bit.
Well, it's wonderful. It's all about recycling waste.
Yeah.
Yeah, and keeping...
So
and
this
it's
is,
for free. This is a New Zealand bin.
same as we have in the garden.
This is a bit of old underlay, which is actually insulating the bin, which is very important. And this is just bits of kitchen waste. It's also been mixed with bits of paper and straw, basically woody material that can absorb the moisture. But this is a cold heap, and that's what most people have because they don't have enough material to make a hot heap, which I'll show you right now.
Right, wow.
This is a hot heap. You can feel the heat, and it's incredible how hot they go. Look at that.
the steam.
I know, 50 degrees centigrade there. Can you see that?
Aye.
And rising. I mean, it gets so hot, it can rise to 70 degrees centigrade, no problem. And just look at this steam. Oh.
Whew.
Wow.
It
Look at that.
It
That
does
is
nip
hot.
a bit as well, doesn't
That's
it?
all the ammonia gas coming off.
So hang on, why one cold and one hot? What's the difference?
Right, basically the cold one is cold because you're adding it a little bit at a time, which
Yeah.
is what most of us can do.
That's what we'll be doing.
Yeah. The hot one is when you have a lot of material that you can mix together and make a heap. And to be honest with you, it's either really large places like this where, you know, we're always creating masses of kitchen waste,
Right.
or, you know, what you can do is like go to your local greengrocers and just get all their vegetables and fruit that they're throwing out.
So what's the advantage? Is it
The
timing?
advantage, yeah, you can get in about 8 weeks.
Quick as that?
Yeah, you can. What happens is it heats up,
Uh-huh.
and then it starts cooling down again. And when it cools down, you just turn it, which means that you pull it all out. You turn it.
Lift the slat, dump it out.
Yeah, just dump it out. Just turn it. You're just getting the oxygen back in. Put it back in, and then it just heats up again. A cold heap will produce some usable compost in 6 to 8 months. But whichever method you choose, the end result is much the same. This is leaf mould that was put this autumn and mixed with urine to help it break down.
Great. Thank you so much for that.
And this is a couple of years old. Isn't
Wow.
that beautiful? That is lovely.
Really.
It's
So-
such a good soil conditioner. A green manure is a plant that you can sow into the soil, and it will keep the soil covered, and the plants are actually taking the nutrients out of the soil. They're holding them in the plant, and then you'll then dig them in. Here we have some flowers planted that are specifically planted as attractants for beneficial insects, and these beneficial insects, once attracted into your garden, will then eat the aphids.
What sort of
attacking
insect?
things like ladybirds, look, hoverflies, all sorts of things. There's a ladybird there. This is mesh over carrots to protect them from carrot fly. These are cabbage mats or cabbage collars which prevent cabbage root fly.
So what are we going to do about our slugs?
Well, the best thing is nematodes, which are biological control, and you can water that into the soil. And
What's
they
a
actually,
nematode?
well, they actually lay their eggs inside the slugs. And,
no.
You know, eat the slugs from inside. It's all pretty revolting biological control. You know, you can surround your plants with sharp sand, eggshells. These are bits of charcoal from the fire.
These don't kill the slugs.
No, they don't. They just deter them. It's
What,
just,
they don't like to crawl over
that's
gritty
right.
things?
Yeah, that's right. And then here, look, you've got human hair, which is
Oh.
so disgusting. And it's also very good for deterring rabbits, human hair. And of course, the best pest and disease resistance that you can have comes from using disease-resistant varieties. So anyway, so what do you think?
It's beautiful.
Fabulous.
You're a bit exposed on this side, aren't you?
Yeah, it's very wide.
A little bit.
I think it would be quite wise to put in an eye-height screen.
Mm-hmm.
Easy enough. Well, I'll carry that. You hold the hammer for me.
This cane screening is actually quite cheap and easy to put up. It'll last a few years. I mean, it's not going to last an awful long time.
You get the upper side of the post first.
With these screens, it really is literally eye height. If you make it any taller, it looks, you end up with a garden that looks like Colditz.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go that high to feel immediately a sense of privacy.
Yeah. Got to leave it in the middle so it could join in the other screen.
Pull it really tight, Jerry. Really tight, otherwise it's going to yawn about.
Just cut that one there. Can you reach?
I hope the ground's level. Got a bit too much wire.
Nice and tight.
Yeah, it's tight. Slip. Yeah. I want some staples in this.
No, you don't. Like I say,
Can't
you
get the
feed it through.
bottom.
Well, you feed it through exactly the same place as the other, and I'll put it back through.
What this garden could really do is a proper separation between the two different sections of the garden,
Yeah.
archways, etc. What you can use is rustic poles jammed into the ground. You don't even have to fill up with concrete. You just shove stones around to solidify the whole thing and pack the soil down. The arches themselves just bang together with nails.
Yep.
Honeysuckle on a wooden structure like this is a good idea, but it's got to get up there somehow, and these honeysuckles can't because they can't get behind the posts. So I think what we're going to do is put up a framework of string in the shape of a W.
Okay.
And take it out slightly sideways will mean the honeysuckle will ramp up the strings and then hang off the pergola. So why don't you sort of knock some staples in
Right.
and put some string in. By the time the string rots, the honeysuckle will be hanging off the structure, so it won't matter. Right, the string. It's taken me a long time to work out about this string.
Yep.
Very traditional garden string. And if you keep it in its packaging and pull the thread out from the middle like this, it actually stays intact. If you get rid of this plastic, which is fairly tough on some of them, the whole thing disintegrates and you throw away more string than you use.
Right.
So just remember that.
Yep.
Keep your string intact. Right, now if I can just get in and have a look, I think we'll lean the stick into the middle. It'll find its own way,
Right.
really it will. Plenty of shoots here. I'm going to take these green plastic things off.
Okay.
I think I'll leave the stick just as a little bit of guidance for it.
It'll find the supports itself. It doesn't actually have to train it onto it.
No, it should start twining. Just leave the stick in as a bit of moral support for it, but it should find its own way. When it gets climbing, just take that stick out.
Right.
3 months later, the honeysuckle was at the top of the rustic poles. And by next year, with the plant producing more bushy growth from the base, it will start to form a screen to take over from the split cane, which will eventually rot away. Next week in this garden, we'll be giving a new lease of life to a derelict pond and choosing plants for the secret garden. And in the organic garden, we'll be starting work on the vegetable plot. If you would like a fact sheet for the whole series, please send a large stamped addressed envelope and a cheque or postal order for £2 made out to GFS2 fact sheet to P.O. Box 9938, London W6 7WL.
Gardening from Scratch returns next Friday at 8 here on BBC Two. Coming up next tonight, Alan Titchmarsh chooses his favourite moments from the 1998 series of Gardener's World.
I'm the sort of farmer you're really going to hate. I have a big farm, have big fields, big machinery, I use a lot of agrochemicals, and what's more, you, the taxpayer, send me a cheque every Christmas time for £180,000. Thanks very much.
How much?
Brussels has said to me, set 10% of your farm aside.
So what does he do with the land? Against the Grain, Monday at 7:30 on BBC Two.
It's just a sort of a love affair with a flower, I suppose.
I have my half, he has his half an acre. We each have our own half an acre.
The biggest battle that I've had is damage done by the winds.
I would think it's probably worse than heroin addiction.
Garden Stories, a new series, next Friday at 8:30 on BBC Two. Midwinter memories of a colourful year for Gardener's World, now on BBC Two.